10 to 15 minutes to get her there, and everything you were never taught. Here is a number that should stop every man in his tracks. Between 70 and 80% of women cannot reach orgasm through penetration alone. Not occasionally, not sometimes, consistently, reliably, anatomically. Here is a second number, 10 to 15 minutes. That is the average time most women need, with the right attention and the right knowledge, to get there. Some less, rarely more, almost always achievable. And yet, the average sexual encounter, across multiple studies, lasts between 5 and 7 minutes. The mismatch is not subtle.
And the gap between those two numbers is where most women's pleasure quietly disappears, evening after evening, in relationships where both partners genuinely love each other. She may not have told you, most women don't.
Not because they don't want to, but because they have spent their whole lives in a culture that taught them their pleasure was secondary, complicated, or too much to ask for. It is not too much to ask for. And the man who understands what she actually needs, not what the movie showed him, not what locker room conversations suggested, but what the science actually says, that man transforms not just her experience, but the entire depth of the connection between them. This is that conversation. The orgasm gap. Let's start with the research, because the numbers are staggering. A landmark study published in the Archives of Sexual Behavior, one of the largest surveys of sexual behavior ever conducted, covering over 52,000 adults, found that 95% of heterosexual men reported usually or always reaching orgasm during sex. The figure for heterosexual women? 65%. That 30-point gap has a name. Researchers call it the orgasm gap, and it is not a gap explained by biology, by desire, or by the complexity of female sexuality. It is a gap explained almost entirely by what is and is not happening during sex. The same study found something even more revealing. When researchers looked at lesbian women, women having sex with other women, the orgasm rate climbed to 86%, close to men's rate, which tells us something critical. The orgasm gap is not a female problem. It is an education problem. When a partner understands female anatomy and prioritizes female pleasure, the gap closes dramatically.
Sex researcher Dr. Debbie Herbenek at Indiana University, one of the most cited researchers in the field of human sexuality, has spent years studying what actually produces orgasm for women. Her findings are consistent and clear. The single greatest predictor of female orgasm is clitoral stimulation, not penetration.
Not duration, not technique in the conventional sense, clitoral stimulation. And yet, most men's entire sexual vocabulary is built around penetration. This is the gap, and this video is about closing it. The anatomy most men were never taught. Here is what most men were never taught in any classroom, any conversation, or any honest discussion about sex. The clitoris is not the small external structure most men think it is. What is visible externally is only the tip, the glands, of an internal organ that extends several inches inside the body, with two internal legs called crura that wrap around the vaginal canal on either side. Dr. Helen O'Connell, a urological surgeon at the Royal Melbourne Hospital, published groundbreaking anatomical research in 1998, later expanded in 2005, that fully mapped the internal structure of the clitoris using MRI imaging for the first time. Her research revealed that the clitoris is substantially larger than medical textbooks had acknowledged, that it surrounds much of the vaginal canal, and that what is commonly called vaginal or G-spot stimulation is in most cases indirect stimulation of the internal clitoral structure. In other words, the anatomy that produces female orgasm is clitoral anatomy. Whether the stimulation is external or internal, direct or indirect, it is almost always the clitoral network that is doing the work.
This has an immediate practical implication that changes everything. Penetration, on its own, without any additional stimulation of the external clitoris, bypasses the primary structure of female pleasure for the majority of women. This is not a failure of her anatomy.
It is a mismatch between what sex is assumed to look like and what female anatomy actually requires. The external clitoris, the visible portion, contains approximately 8,000 nerve endings, more than any other structure in the human body, male or female. It exists for one purpose, and the man who understands this, who treats it as the center of female pleasure rather than a footnote, changes the entire experience for his partner.
What she actually needs. So what does she actually need? Let's be specific, because vague advice helps no one. Research published in the Journal of Sex and Marital Therapy, a study involving over 1,000 women aged 18 to 94, asked women directly and in detail what produces orgasm for them. The findings were precise. 36% of women reported that clitoral stimulation was necessary for orgasm. 18% said that while clitoral stimulation was not strictly necessary, it enhanced their experience significantly. Only 18% reported that penetration alone was sufficient. The study also asked women about the specific type of stimulation they preferred. The most commonly reported preference, by a significant majority, was gentle, rhythmic, focused stimulation of the clitoral area. Not pressure, not speed, consistency. Dr. Herbenick's research reinforces this. Women who reported the highest rates of orgasm consistently cited 3 factors. First, adequate time. The average time to female orgasm with sufficient stimulation is between 15 and 20 minutes. The average sexual encounter across multiple studies lasts between 5 and 7 minutes. The mismatch here is not subtle. Second, oral sex. Studies consistently show that oral sex, specifically direct oral stimulation of the clitoris, is the sexual activity most reliably associated with female orgasm. A 2017 study in the Journal of Sex Research found that women were significantly more likely to reach orgasm when oral sex was included than in encounters where it was not. Third, the use of additional stimulation during penetration. Research from Dr. Herbenick's team found that women who used a vibrator during partnered sex reported significantly higher rates of orgasm, higher sexual satisfaction, and, critically, no reduction in intimacy or connection with their partner. The partner who welcomes additional stimulation is not being replaced. He is demonstrating that her pleasure matters more than his ego. The consistent message across all of this research is the same. Her pleasure requires attention to her anatomy, not more effort in the wrong direction. Attention, focused, patient, curious, in the right one. The conversation nobody is having. Here is where it gets honest. Most couples are not having this conversation. Not because they don't care about each other. Because the culture they grew up in taught both of them that sex is something that happens to women rather than something that is built with them. Research by Dr. Sarah Chadwick and Dr. Sari Van Anders at the University of Michigan found that women consistently reported a phenomenon they called partner-focused orgasm concern, a tendency to manage or suppress their own pleasure in order to avoid making their partner feel inadequate or to avoid the discomfort of seeming too demanding. Women were not failing to orgasm because they couldn't. They were deprioritizing their own pleasure because the social script around sex gave them no framework for asking for what they needed. Men, on the other side, were often operating on assumptions about what worked, about what she wanted, about whether she had finished, that had never been tested against reality. Because the conversation had never happened. The solution is not technique. The solution is communication. Not a clinical, uncomfortable debrief after the fact. A simple, ongoing, curious conversation. Asking what feels good. Paying attention to the response when something works. Building a shared vocabulary around her pleasure that normalizes it as the equal priority it has always deserved to be. Dr. Emily Nagoski, author of Come As You Are. One of the most important books written on female sexuality argues that the single greatest predictor of sexual satisfaction for women is not technique, frequency, or any physical variable. It is feeling confident that your partner genuinely cares whether you have a good experience. Caring, demonstrated through attention, through communication, through a willingness to learn,
is the foundation. Everything else is built on top of it. The practical framework. Let's turn the research into something a man can actually use. There are 4 practical shifts that the research consistently identifies as transformative for female sexual satisfaction. Not tricks, not techniques. Shifts in how you approach the entire experience.
The first shift: make her pleasure the priority, not the warm-up. Most men approach sex with a mental architecture that places male orgasm at the end of the sequence, and everything before it as preparation. Invert this entirely.
Her pleasure is not foreplay, it is the main event. When this shift happens genuinely, not as a technique to seem attentive, but as an actual reorientation of what sex is for, everything changes. She feels it.
And the experience for both partners becomes profoundly different. The second shift: understand oral sex as the primary language of her pleasure. The research is unambiguous here. Oral sex, specifically direct, attentive, unhurried oral stimulation of the clitoris, is the sexual activity most reliably associated with female orgasm across all studies, all demographics, all age groups.
It requires patience. It requires genuine engagement. It requires the abandonment of any notion that it is a minor act or a preliminary one. For the majority of women, it is the most direct path to the experience that most men assume penetration provides. Pay attention to her response. Gentle, consistent rhythm matters more than intensity. What she responds to in the first minute may shift. Stay curious, stay present, follow what she shows you. The third shift: incorporate external clitoral stimulation during penetration. Research consistently shows that the majority of women who orgasm during penetrative sex are receiving simultaneous clitoral stimulation, either manually, through position, or with a vibrator. This is not an indication that something is missing. It is an indication that her anatomy is working exactly as it was designed to. The integration of a vibrator into partnered sex has been shown in multiple studies to significantly increase female orgasm rates, with no negative impact on relationship satisfaction or male partner confidence, in couples where both partners approach it as a shared tool rather than a replacement. The man who suggests it, who is comfortable with it, who treats his partner's orgasm as a shared goal rather than a performance metric, that man is demonstrating a level of sexual confidence and emotional maturity that most women have never encountered. The fourth shift: ensure she arrives before you do. The research on the sequencing of orgasm in partnered sex is straightforward. After male orgasm, the physiological and psychological momentum of the encounter typically shifts. What this means practically is simple: her orgasm first. Not as a rule imposed from outside, but as an orientation toward her experience, toward her pleasure, toward the understanding that her satisfaction is not an add-on, but the point. This single shift in priority, not just in sequence, communicates something that no number of compliments or grand gestures can replicate: that she matters, that her body matters, that her experience in intimacy is as worthy of attention and effort as any other part of the relationship. Why this changes everything beyond the bedroom. This section matters because the men watching this need to understand that this is not just about sex. Research published in the Archives of Sexual Behavior found that sexual satisfaction is one of the strongest predictors of overall relationship satisfaction for both partners, but particularly for women. Women who reported consistent sexual satisfaction reported higher levels of relationship commitment, emotional intimacy, and long-term relationship stability. The inverse is also true. Dr. Herbenick's research found that women who consistently did not reach orgasm in partnered sex reported lower relationship satisfaction, lower feelings of being valued by their partner, and higher rates of emotional disconnection over time. This is the link that most conversations about sex never make explicit. The orgasm gap is not just a physical issue, it is an intimacy issue. When a woman's pleasure is consistently deprioritized, even unintentionally, even by a man who loves her, it communicates something to her at the level of her nervous system. that no amount of reassurance fully addresses. She is not the priority. And the man who changes this, who genuinely, consistently treats her pleasure as equal to his own, is not just becoming a better lover, he is becoming a better partner.
He is building the kind of physical intimacy that deepens emotional intimacy, that builds trust, that creates the experience of being fully chosen by the person you chose. Dr. Nagoski puts it simply, women's sexual well-being is inseparable from their emotional well-being. To care about one is to care about the other.
In closing, between 70 and 80% of women are not finishing. Not because they can't, not because their partners don't love them, because nobody gave those partners the map. You have the map now. The clitoris is the center of female pleasure, external stimulation, oral attention, patient presence, and the genuine prioritization of her experience. These are not complicated things. They are simply things most men were never taught.
And the man who learns them, who approaches his partner's pleasure with the same seriousness he brings to anything else that matters to him, is not just a better lover. He is a man who makes his partner feel, in the most intimate possible way, that she is worth every moment of attention.
That is not a small thing. That is the foundation of the kind of intimacy that keeps two people choosing each other for a lifetime. This is the Better Man Project. Subscribe. Share this with someone who is ready.